All right, let me go ahead and open Zoom up here real quick. Perfect. All right, guys, I am so excited to be live with you today. We are going to talk about something that is very, very important in today's market, and that is how to recession-proof your wholesaling business. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is because over the last month, 2 months, as we've heard this term recession, and if anybody went through the recession 2007, 2008, 2009, I'm sure there's a lot of questions, a lot of doubt as to how this type of a recession would affect us as real estate investors or wholesalers. So I wanted to kind of give my opinion, give my thoughts, kind of share some feedback on kind of what I expect to happen and kind of what I think is going to go on here in the next several months, years, so on and so forth, and kind of what to expect as a real estate investor if if you're going to have any type of recession going on. So let me go ahead and get my screen shared. I put together some slides for us today. Let's see here. Share my screen. All right, so you should be able to see my screen. So right here, the topic is going to be how to recession-proof your wholesaling business. So we've got a lot of stuff that we're going to cover today. First thing we're going to talk about is what is a recession. Okay, so what does that term actually mean? How can you be affected as a wholesaler during a recession? I'll talk a little bit about how I actually got my start in the last recession that we had in 07, 08, 09, that kind of stuff like that. How you can actually build a thriving business during a recession, some of the things that you need to do different, and really just kind of what to expect as a real estate investor going through our kind of current timeline and stuff like that. So I'll talk to you a little bit about kind of the things that I've done to prepare my business for the upcoming recession, some of the things I'm looking forward to, some of the things that I'm not looking forward to. We just have a lot of really cool stuff to kind of cover. So first of all, let's go ahead and kind of jump in first and talk a little bit about what a recession is. Okay, so when it comes to the term recession, really, it's just a significant, widespread, prolonged downturn in the economic activity kind of in our area. So it could be, financial, it could be real estate related, it can be really just any kind of a downturn is what they use kind of the term recession for. As wholesalers, some of the things that can happen during a recession, one of the things is that, people are going to change the way that they invest. Okay, what I mean by that is some investors may be less likely to buy fix and flip type properties. So there may be less people that are rehabbing and putting properties out on the retail market. Some, just regular people may be less likely to buy new houses. So that may be one of the reasons why people are a lot less likely to do fix and flips. But, really in general, the recession can be affected a lot of different ways for us as real estate investors. So we won't necessarily know what that's going to look like until things start to kind of shake out a little bit over the next couple of months. But one thing that I will tell you, this recession is really going to be different than what we saw back in 2007, 2008, because I'll talk about this a little bit later on in the presentation, but the type of recession that we're going through is different. Okay. What I mean by that is before, a lot of that was tied to, real estate and some of the loans that were going on out there. People that weren't qualified were getting loans. There was a lot of people that were over leveraged. That really kind of impacted real estate a lot. So there was a lot of people that weren't able to get loans to buy houses. There were a lot of people that were losing houses. There was a big flood of foreclosures. There was just a big flood of opportunity, but you couldn't really do the same things that people are doing now, where they were buying those properties, rehabbing them and fixing them and stuff like that. Because the thing about the real estate market back then is just there were no end buyers that were buying those properties and stuff like that. So a lot of people shifted, a lot of people changed. There were still investors out there that were buying. There were people that were buying rental properties, people that had their own money that could consume properties and buy those properties at a much discounted rate. That was going to be a huge perk for a lot of investors kind of going through that recession back then. So what I find is that that's going to be a little bit different than kind of what we're experiencing now, because right now there's still a lot of people buying properties. Properties in many markets are still selling above what they should be selling at. Houses are still selling very quickly. What maybe I think we'll see is probably like a cooling off period, maybe where things start to kind of reset a little bit. Maybe there just won't be the big, huge uptick in how quickly houses are selling for and how much more they're selling over market value, but just kind of a slight correction is kind of what I think we're going to see in many cases. So again, there's a lot to kind of consider. No one really knows what's going to happen, but what we've seen so far is that there's still a lot of people that have really good jobs. A lot of people aren't over leveraged when it comes to properties and stuff like that. So it's going to be a much different timeline and a much different recession than kind of what we saw, back in the mid 2000s. So let's talk a little bit about what can be bad for wholesalers in a recession. Well, one of the things that you have to consider, and this is going to be kind of what I'm going to share with you much later on in this presentation, in how you can kind of recession-proof your business and how you can thrive in a business. One thing that you have to kind of consider is that many of the buyers that you're used to selling properties to are no longer going to be buying properties. Okay, so that's one of the things that can be really bad for wholesalers in a recession. If you don't understand how to find out who's buying and what they're buying, and you're just kind of taking the old approach of kind of, just putting properties under contract, hoping that you're going to be able to find a buyer, that type of situation may not necessarily work out well for you if we're running into a recession, because a lot of the buyers that were buying and fixing and flipping and selling for these huge retail numbers, they might not be buying the same types of properties or paying as much as they used to. So that's something that may hurt you as a wholesaler in a recession. So another thing that we want to kind of consider is, what are some of the perks for wholesalers? Because I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of perks that can actually help you in a recession. So one of the things that we need to kind of consider is that, look, there's going to be less competition. So if there are less investors out there, then that's going to be better for us, because there's going to be a lot less competition, a lot of people that are making these huge, outrageous offers on properties that don't have buyers lined up, that are making everybody look bad for us as wholesalers. A lot of those people are going to get wiped out if they're not going to be able to sell to some of those big buyers that are buying, fixing and flipping and rehabbing those properties and stuff like that. So that's one thing that can actually be good for you as a real estate wholesaler, is that we can actually lose a lot of the competition in the market. And that's going to be a huge win for us. Another thing is, if the real estate market slows down at all, sellers are going to be a lot more realistic with what they're asking for their properties. They're going to be a lot more likely to sell at a discount. And that is really, really important for us, is that they're going to be able to accept a discount. Looks like I messed my slides up here a little bit. Let me fix this real quick. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's one thing we can consider. Less competition. If the real estate market slows down at all, sellers are going to be a lot more realistic whenever they're offering their properties. So it's going to be much easier to get discounted offers accepted. Okay, so now there's people paying at or above retail for investment type properties. So that may change. We don't know exactly how that's going to affect, but if we do see any type of a downturn, it is going to be easier for us to get those types of offers accepted. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how I got my start in a recession. So this is one of the things that I think is really powerful for you to understand, is that, look, a recession is not a bad thing. There's going to be good things that come out of it and bad things. You just need to make some adjustments to be prepared to be able to thrive in a recession. And that's all stuff that I'm going to share with you today. So let's talk a little bit about how I got my start. Okay, so I got started investing in real estate back in 2004, 2005. I was very young, 19, 20 years old. And all of the flipping house TV shows were on. That was all the rage. People were buying, fixing, and flipping properties. They were making $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 profits on these deals. They were all over TV. Everybody made it out to be so simple. They were flipping these properties on a 30-minute TV show and making $100,000. So I thought to myself, look, I think that I can do this too. So I was so confident because they made it look so simple that I talked my parents into going out, getting a loan, and we were going to buy our first fix and flip property. Well, it turns out I had no idea what kind of property to look for. I bought a property that I tried to add some value to that was pretty much kind of at retail. We put a ton of work into it, really made it too nice for the neighborhood, put way too much into the property that when we tried to sell it, even though the market was good, the property sat on the market for too long because we were kind of at the top end of the market. I had no idea what to expect. I thought that I was creating all this value, that I was going to be able to sell this property. And in the market that I was in St. Louis, it just didn't really work the same way that they talked about on the television shows and stuff like that. So what happened was we were able to finally sell that property. We were able to squeak out about a $13,000 profit, but it took us 7 or 8 months to be able to do that on our first deal. So thank God my parents were very understanding, and we didn't risk a whole lot. They had really good credit. We were able to get that loan. Either way, we made about $13,000. They gave me my cut of the profit. And I decided that I was going to do things a lot different. And I wanted to reinvest my profit back in to buy another property. And I just kept doing that. I was buying more and more fix and flip properties. I was building a pretty large business. I was doing 4, 5, 6, 7 deals at a time. I was buying the property, flipping them out. I was making good money, 10, 15, 25, $30,000 on each property. It's pretty good money whenever you're 20 years old. So what I was doing is I was just turning all that money back into those properties, buying more and more properties. And what happened after about 2 or 3 years, the market fell out. All right. And I was not prepared. I had no idea what to expect. I was very young. I was making all this money. I was spending that money. I was putting it all back into the property. I didn't save anything. I didn't invest anything. And I tell you what, I got caught with about 15 properties that I was in the middle of either fixing and flipping or had on the market, and I couldn't sell them. Okay. So what happened was I was stuck with all these really expensive loans. I was paying interest on these properties, thousands and thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on a monthly basis. I was paying for all these properties. I had no idea what to do. The market fell out. I couldn't sell any properties. I didn't have anything saved up. I was completely screwed. I had to figure out a way to be able to cover the loans on these properties without just giving them all back. I didn't know what to do. So I just started to research other ways to invest in real estate. And that's actually how I found out about wholesaling, was right in the middle of the recession, 2007, 2008. I didn't know what to do. I was trying to come up with all this money on a monthly basis, and I just didn't know what to do. So I got into wholesaling. It took me a couple months to get my first deal. But what I was able to do is I was able to get big chunks of money to cover the cost while I sold those properties. Some of them I went through, sold off at a discount, whatever I could afford to discount. Some I worked out discounts with the bank. I was able to get rid of all those properties, the 12, 15, 20 properties I had that were on the market. I was able to finally get rid of those. Took me almost 2 years, almost went bankrupt. It was very difficult. But the thing that saved me was wholesaling. And I did this during a recession. So that is something that you need to consider. Wholesaling can work in every market. Good market, bad market, up market, down market, small market, big market. It doesn't matter as long as you have the right data and understand who's buying and what they're buying. You're always going to be able to do wholesaling. But one thing that you're going to have to consider, traditional wholesaling strategies that a lot of people teach are not going to work. So if you're having difficulty doing deals right now the traditional way, you're not going to be able to survive or thrive during a recession. So what I'm going to share with you today is how you can actually thrive and do really awesome in a recession. Okay. So for those of you that are watching right now, if you're live or not, tell me what market that you're in. Tell me if you're new to the business. Just share some feedback with me. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the video so far. And just drop some comments. That way I can see kind of, who we're talking to, who's joining us today. And I'm really excited to kind of share with you some of this stuff because we've got a lot of really awesome stuff that I'm going to share with you on exactly how to kind of build your business and how you can thrive during the upcoming recession and kind of what that even means to us as wholesalers. So go ahead and drop some comments below, share the love, like everything. That way I can see we got some good people on here and that you're enjoying the content that I'm creating for you. All right. So next thing that we want to talk about, Should you be worried in a recession? Okay. So again, yes and no. There's some things that you need to be worried about, some things you shouldn't be worried about. And what I mean by that is if you understand the buyers and you understand how to see what's changing in the market, you don't have to be worried at all. That's what I'm going to teach you about today. Now, again, if you're trying the traditional wholesaling methods and things that, or if you're struggling to do deals, you should definitely be worried, because as things change, it's only going to be harder for you to get started. So a couple things that we need to kind of consider, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. What's going to be different compared to our previous recession? Well, this is not going to be the same type of recession. The previous recession was tied to mortgages and really affected real estate in a major way. Not many people were able to get loans. Not many people were buying properties. What we see right now is that people are still buying properties. People are still able to get loans. It's not the same type of recession that we saw before. So likely it's going to be a small correction, which is a good thing, but not necessarily a huge tank in the real estate market like we saw before. All right. So one of the things that I want to talk about is going to be the biggest mistake that you as a wholesaler can make investing during a recession. So if you're watching this right now, whether you're live or if you're watching the replay, drop a comment below and let me know what you think the biggest mistake is that investors make while investing in a recession. I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are and what can really affect wholesalers and investors during a recession. All right, so drop some comments below, let me know. But what I feel the biggest mistake is, and we've touched on this a little bit, is that if you're struggling right now to put deals together, you're going to continue to struggle to do deals in a downturn, okay? And the reason for that is because for new investors, they struggle with what's currently taught as kind of our traditional wholesaling model. And that model is, pick an area that you want to work. Pretty much you just kind of either pick where you live or just blindly pick some virtual market and throw some marketing out there to see what sticks, whether it's driving for dollars, cold calling, texting, it doesn't matter. If you're just kind of blindly doing a bunch of marketing to kind of see what sticks, and then once you find someone that's willing to sell, make them a lowball offer, try to get the property under contract, whether you're using Mayo or some other formula to make some lowball offer. Once you find someone that's willing to bite, get that property under contract, and then start shopping around for a buyer to see if you can get the deal closed. That's what so many new investors do, because that's what so many people teach about this business. But what you have to understand is that that's a lot of guessing game. All right. It's basically hoping that you win the lottery, hoping that you pick the right market, hoping you pick the right section of your market, hoping that you choose the right marketing strategy, hoping you choose the right motivated sellers, hoping that you make the right offer on the right property, hoping that you're going to be able to find the right buyer to do that. I'm going to share with you how we can eliminate every bit of that guesswork to know exactly where to invest in your market, know exactly what types of properties to look for, know exactly what kind of an offer to make, know exactly who's going to be the most motivated sellers, and know exactly who your buyers are going to be before you do any of those steps. And that's the right way to build a thriving business in today's market. So if you're watching this, drop a comment below, say, I want to build a thriving wholesaling business. Once we get enough comments, I'm going to share with you guys exactly what you need to do to build a thriving business in today's market. All right. So if you're worried about the recession, if you don't know what to do, I'm going to share with you guys the exact plan and exactly what you need to do. All right. So drop some comments below. Make sure you share this. Make sure you get some likes going. I want to make sure that we've got some good feedback going on. Okay. So how to build a thriving wholesaling business during a recession. All right. This is the single most important thing that you can understand. And this is going to apply not just in a recession, but anytime you want to be successful at wholesaling, you need to understand that this business is all about the data. All right. So many people play the guessing game. They're just kind of hoping they're going to be able to find the right property, hoping they choose the right market, hoping they do all these things. I'm going to share with you how you can do all this with laser precision, and it's all about the data. Now, you can build a business as a wholesaler and actually do deals the old-fashioned way, where you're just kind of hoping things work. But the biggest struggle is going to be getting consistent deals, making money consistently, making big profits on deals without wasting a ton of time, a ton of money, struggling to have that consistency. So what we look at in this business is that it's all about data. And really, one major data set that we focus on is our buyer data. All right. So what we look at is we want to identify what our market demand is. And the market demand is basically our buyers and what they're buying out there in the property, what kind of properties they're buying out there in the market. So the approach that I take when it comes to wholesaling is that we need to identify our buyers first, not necessarily who we're going to sell to specifically, but we need to identify who the big buyers are in our area. We want to look at all the properties that are bought within a maybe 30, 60, 90-day time frame, depending on how big your market is. You may need to go back a little bit further. We want to identify two things. We want to identify all the people that bought investment properties. So absentee owners, people that are buying properties that they don't live in. Number two, the second thing we want to look at is who bought more than one property during that time frame. So why is that important? Anybody that's out just buying a property here and a property there, they're not necessarily going to be the buyers that we want to work with, because they're not buying consistently enough to where that we know that if we have a good deal that's a fit for what their criteria is, they're going to buy it from us. All right. So that is so important. We need to make sure that, number one, we're identifying all the buyers in our area that bought investment properties. Number two, identifying buyers that bought more than one property during that time frame. So make sure you jot that down as a comment. More than one property during our time frame window. That's what we need to have. Those are our pro buyers. Those are professional buyers that are buying properties. We know that if we can find properties that are a fit for them, they're going to buy properties from us. So that's the first bit. That's going to be our data pool that we're looking for, consistent buyers that are buying properties. Now, once we identify those buyers, we can look back and see the last 10, 15, 20 properties they bought. What zip codes did they buy in? What neighborhoods did they buy in? What types of properties? Was it a rental property? Was it a fix and flip property? Was it a single family? Was it a multifamily? How deep of a discount did they buy it at? Did they buy it at 40 cents on the dollar, 60 cents on the dollar? Did they buy it at 90% of market value? Those are the things that are really important for us, is to be able to know and identify who's buying, what they're paying, because that is the information that we need to understand about our market. So that way we can build a thriving business no matter what happens. If we know who our buyers are and what they're buying, we can spot trends. We can see if they're changing their buying pattern. Are they buying at a deeper discount? Are they buying a different kind of property? Are they no longer rehabbing? Are they shifting over now to building a landlord business? That is all the information that we can see based on what the buyers in our market are doing. So if you have your finger on the pulse as far as who the buyers are and what they're buying, you never have to worry another day in your life when it comes to wholesaling. You're always going to be able to know exactly what kind of properties in what areas and exactly what kind of an offer you need to make to be able to sell that property to the pro buyers in your area. Okay. This is always changing. This is the information that we need to know because it dictates every decision that we make as a wholesaler. It dictates where we do our marketing, what segment of our market, what types of sellers are we looking at, single family, multifamily, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, all of that information is dictated based on who the buyers are and what they're buying. And that is the most important thing. Lastly, it makes big decisions for us when it comes to making offers on properties. So many people get wrapped up in trying to create some formula they can use when it comes to making offers. Your offer is based on what the buyers are buying. So if you have buyers that are buying at 90 cents on the dollar, you can't make an offer at 60 cents on the dollar and expect that homeowners are going to take that and try to make that big of a spread. So we need to be able to know that, look, if we can't get our offer accepted at 60, 65 cents on the dollar, we know that we can go up a little bit because we have buyers that are willing to pay close to retail or above retail, and we can sell to those types of buyers. And if we can get our properties accepted at a discount, that's going to be more of a spread for us. So just understanding that buyer data is how you're going to build a thriving wholesaling business, whether we're in a great market or in a recession. It doesn't matter. And that's what you need to understand. So go ahead and drop a comment below, type in buyer data. That is the single most important thing that you need to understand, okay? Now, there's a lot that goes into understanding this buyer data. We can use pretty much any tool out there, PropStream, anywhere where we can find buyers. We want to be able to, collect that information. And I have several resources, whether it's my ebook or whether if you decide to work with me one-on-one, I can share with you how to find all the buyers in your market, show you how to find the pro buyers, and then break down their buying decisions, find out what types of properties they're buying, where they're buying, what they're paying. I can show you how to do that. Like I said, we can talk a little bit later about how to work with us, but that is the data that you need to have as an investor, whether you're completely new or if you're looking to invest during a recession, okay? So first we need to identify who's buying, what they're buying, and how much are they paying. From there, we can take that information to really dial in our marketing to make sure that we're only marketing to people that have a property that's a fit for what our market demand is. From there, we can go out, once we find those motivated sellers, we can make offers that are a lot more likely to get accepted because we don't have to make offers at 40 cents on the dollar or 60 cents on the dollar because we know who our buyers are and what they're willing to pay. If we have buyers that are paying at or above retail, we can make stronger offers and still know that we're going to make a really large spread on our properties. So that's how we can make really good decisions in a recession. So if things start to change and we have less people doing rehabbing, that's okay. We know that our buyers are going to change over maybe to more of a landlord model, or we can figure out what they're doing just based on what's going on with our buyer data. And that is literally the most important thing that you could consider. All right. So what I think about the recession is I say, bring it on. It doesn't make any difference to me because it's going to thin out our competition. It's going to bring our sellers down to a much more realistic expectation of what they'll accept for an offer. And I know that I can thrive in any type of a market because I use data to make all the decisions in my wholesaling business. I take the guesswork out of it. I'm not just going out there blindly marketing, trying to make offers on any kind of properties, and then hoping, fingers crossed, that I'm going to find a buyer. I know up front what the market demand is and what I need to do, the changes I need to make in my business based on what the buyers in my market are doing. And I want to share the exact same thing with you. The reason why I say that is because, look, I right now have a one-on-one mentorship that I'm working with a very small handful of people, showing them how to set their business up the right way. I'll show you how to do all the market research in your business, show you which area of your market you want to invest in. I'll show you how to find all the buyers in your market, show you specifically how to find the buyers that we want to work with. Then we'll do all the buying research. We'll figure out specifically what the demand is in your area. We'll use that to build out your marketing, whether it is going to be, different strategies are going to be dependent upon what your marketing budget is. But we'll set up all your marketing campaigns. We'll show you the right motivated sellers that you want to target based on our buyer data. I'll show you how to formulate your offers, get your offers accepted. I'll work with you one-on-one to really kind of start the business from scratch. So whether you need everything, systems, tools, contracts, forms, I'll give you the entire blueprint to start your business from scratch. Or whether you're already an experienced investor that's looking to kind of take your business to the next level, I'll show you how you can do that using the same data that we talked about in this to build and scale and kind of grow that business and take it to the next level. Many of the investors that I work with have scaled their business to 6 figures plus on a monthly basis. I'm not talking about in a year, 6 figures plus a month. And I can show you how to do the exact same thing using the data. So if you're already doing deals, I can show you how to do more deals without spending any more money. And I'll also show you how to make more money per deal based on working with the right buyers. So for those of you that are looking for help, a couple different ways I can help you out. I've got an ebook that I'll drop a link for. Also, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one and want to find out what that looks like, you can go to tridentwholesalingsystem.com. Fill out some information about you and your business and set up a time to talk with either me or someone on my team. and I want to be able to work with you. So for those of you that are ready to kind of take that next step and want to see what it actually is to work with me, to set your business up to be recession proof, how to implement all the stuff that we talked about today, you can go to tridentwholesalingsystem.com. That's going to link you directly to information about how I work one-on-one with students, what that looks like, and then you can set up a free call so we can talk about how we can work together. So thank you all so much for joining us on the video today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed the information, got a lot out of it. Make sure you drop some comments below. Let me know if you enjoyed the information. Let me know kind of where you're at in the business. Let me know if all this makes sense. Or if you want to get some help, or want to kind of talk about working together, you can just drop a comment below. You can drop the word chat or something like that, and I'll reach out directly to you. Or you can go to tridentwholesalingsystem.com. And I really look forward to helping you guys build a recession-proof wholesaling business, show you exactly what changes you need to make now and how you can use it to ultimately grow and scale your wholesaling business, make more and do deals a lot quicker, eliminate all the guesswork, and really just set the business up to thrive. So again, thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate it. For those of you that are watching this on a replay, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I look forward to talking to you guys next week when I do another Facebook Live for you. So thank you all so much for joining me. I'll talk to you guys soon.